talking TCU Horned Frogs today on Sharpen the Point. 2024, 9-4 season. It was a rebounding year from the hangover they suffered in 2023 after that national title game appearance. And they responded well to close out the year on a 6-1 run. Sonny Dykes enters his fourth season. You got to like his coordinators in Kendall Briles and Andy Avalos. They were really quality additions to this team. Quarterback Josh Hoover, he proved to be a good fit for the Briles offense that relies much more on the pass than the run game to be efficient and explosive. Hoover posted nearly 4,000 passing yards and 27 touchdowns, showing that he was the right man for the job with those impressive numbers. He does lack the mobility that the other prominent quarterbacks under Briles have possessed, but he makes up for it in arm talent by being able to make every throw on the field, and he's accurate with it. In order to continue his progression, they're going to want him to cut down on some of his gunslinger mentality, as he can be prone to make some ill-advised throws from time to time. But Hoover's developing into a star, and there's no reason to believe that he's not going to be even better this season than he was last. Ken Seals, he's going to return to remain the backup, but all eyes on the future should be on Adam Schobel. He's a four-star true freshman from Texas. He possesses the size at 6'5" and arm talent to be the next in line here. Running back wise, this time last year, all of the buzz was around Cam Cook and how he was poised for a breakout season in this offense. He was serviceable to begin the year against some poor competition, but he quickly fell out of favor as he seemed to lack explosiveness, with less than 4 yards per carry and no touch going for over 20 yards the entire season. And the fact that he even got to 9 touchdowns is a testament to how well this offense operated, even without the threat of a run game. They ended up turning to 6'4", 222-pound wide receiver Savion Williams to be the savior and the most efficient rusher during the second half of this season. And he provided a spark that they really lacked out of the backfield. Cook transferred out to Jacksonville State, and then Williams moved on to the NFL, and it really left this backfield wide open for opportunity. Kavorian Barnes comes over from UTSA, and Jeremy Payne, I think they formed the bulk of this committee early in the year with Trent Battle and Nate Palmer as the primary spell options. Barnes burst onto the scene in 2022 and followed it up with a good 2023, leading the Roadrunners in rushing in both seasons. But he had an absolutely awful year last year, getting passed on the depth chart by a number of guys as the season progressed. He's going to hope to rekindle some of what he had in those prior seasons to keep hold of that lead in the committee. Payne, he's going to begin the year splitting the work here after he received limited touches last season as a true freshman. He was serviceable, but it was too much to ask of him to be the go-to guy. This season, he's going to be thrust into the spotlight if Barnes can't bounce back. And Battle has the size to be a banger in the middle of the field. He can force his way into the mix if the others struggle to gain their footing. He's a leader on the field here. Palmer, he's a very versatile back. He has explosive play capability in him. In the spring, he showed much more confidence in his decision-making, which allowed him to put his foot in the ground and get that burst upfield to look for contact. If he puts it together, he's the guy to watch out for and could really come on strong as the season progresses, specifically if this top two ends up not working out. There's still a lot of questions surrounding how this is going to go, as nobody is a clear top option that can be relied upon to deliver here. The good news is that the pass game is going to allow them to face light boxes and plenty of opportunity to get yards before contact. Pass catcher-wise, the foursome of Jack Bech, Savion Williams, J.P. Richardson, and Eric McAllister formed a quality unit that was able to keep the offense afloat in every facet of the game. Bech led the way with over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns, and Williams was forced into a dual threat role at running back and wide receiver like we talked about. And he combined for over 900 yards of total offense and 12 touchdowns. And then Richardson and McAllister each cleared that 700-yard receiving mark. They were really the clear options in that room. McAllister, though, he's the only one that returns this season. He's going to be tasked with taking up the mantle of the top target in this pass-first offense. He's more than capable of doing so as his size at 6'3". He's got a ton of speed. His route running is great. They make him a reliable top option in this offense. The bowl game showed that just what he was capable of, as he has an 8-catch, 87-yard, 1-touchdown line in the first half alone as they were blowing him out. And I'd expect him to push for and potentially exceed that 1,000-yard mark this year with double-digit touchdown upside, while really challenging for the school's single-season reception record, which I believe is Josh Doctson somewhere in the 80 range. The trio of Jordan Bailey, Jordan Dwyer comes from Idaho, and Joseph Manjack, who comes over from Houston. They're going to pair with McAllister to make up the bulk of the production from this unit this season. Bailey was the primary backup in the slot last year. He's going to move into a more prominent role now. Manjack, he's going to step right into a spot off a down season with the Cougars where they struggled to get anything going through the air. He was much more productive in 2023, playing as a complementary piece to Matthew Golden and Sam Brown. Each of them were productive for Texas and Miami, respectively, last year, so it was a talented room. And then Dwyer, he's the most interesting addition. He's coming off a near 1,200-yard, 12-touchdown season for the Vandals. He had 2 monster games in the playoffs with 7 catches, 166 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and followed that up with 11 for 189 and 2. I really like his upside and what he could do. They didn't utilize the tight end nearly as much last year with Jared Wiley gone. Drake Dabney is now going to be gone now from that starting role, and it looks like Chase Curtis is going to lead the room. I would not rule out Kamorion Pipton from LSU. He's a solid blocker who can contribute in the pass game as well. And then on the line, they struggled. They were solid in pass protection. They allowed only 16 sacks for the season, but they struggled to get that push up front in the run game. The backs were routinely getting hit in the backfield and making plays after contact, and they had to make those guys miss in order to net positive yardage. Right tackle was a particular struggle as they really had their moments, but generally were the weakest link of the year. And losses of left tackle Bless Harris to graduation and center James Brockermeyer to Miami, they're going to need to be replaced, but they don't really have obvious answers there. At left tackle, it's going to be 2 transfers trying to fight it out here, and Dylan Kinney from Abilene Christian and Rasheed Jackson from Incarnate Word battling for that top spot. Kinney was a starter at left tackle in all 12 games for the Wildcats last season. Jackson was a second-team all-conference performer for Incarnate Word. And whichever one does not earn the job on the outside really has the chance to shift inside to a guard spot. It's going to be a big step up in competition for each, so it really is fair to question how they're going to hold up on that blind side. In the middle, Colton Deary, Remington Strickland, and Carson Bruno, they're some of the names to look for to secure roles here. Deary's going to move from guard to center this season, which is more comfortable for him. And then on the right side, Ben Taylor Whitfield, he returns from off of that roller coaster season he had a year ago. If he gets off to another rocky start, I think he's going to be pushed by true freshman Logan Schramm for that role. Defensive line-wise, the line was the weakest part of the defense as the run defense wasn't up to par with how good the pass defense was, and I would have liked to see them get home for more sacks, as 26 really felt light for me when you play more of these shootout-style games with how good this offense is, putting up points. They lose 3 solid defenders along the front 4, but they do return plenty to keep the unit in a similar position heading into this season. Davion Deal, he was the top guy in the room last year with 6 sacks. He's again going to anchor this unit. He's going to be complemented by the likes of Travis Jackson and Zach Chapman, both of whom are coming off freshman seasons where they were functional members of the rotation, and each should continue to improve and be better suited to contribute this year. Chapman's going to move from more of a 3 technique to the edge. He has great length and the ability to use it well to shake off defenders with his quick first step, and it puts opponents in the blender. So that's going to be fun to watch. Marcus Deal and Ansu Dinmumba, he's from Washington State. They're going to provide a big presence in the middle. Deal will vastly help to improve in the run game. When he was on the field he's definitely an improvement for the run game when he's on the field. He had a really breakout season last year, and Din Imba, he's a solid pickup. He can provide a quality pass rush in the face of the quarterback. He's coming off a 7-sack season. I will note he was the Pac-2 Defensive Lineman of the Year last year. There were slim pickings for the award, but at least he was the best out of those teams. Linebacker-wise, it was a 4-man rotation last year where they were all interchangeable parts as sure tacklers, and they were solid in pass coverage. Namdi Abiazor and Caleb Alarms Orb and Max Carroll, they all return. They do lose Johnny Hodges from that unit, but the rest return, which is really going to keep it a strength of the defense here. Obiazor, he's the top piece with he really never left the field last year. He's likely to do that again. Secondary-wise, it was a stifling unit last year, leading the way on the defense as its strength. They do lose cornerback Lamarian James and nickel Abe Kamara, but they returned Bud Clark. He graded out as one of the top safeties in the country. He's a star on the back end. I think he leads the way of this this defense. Jamel Johnson, he's going to pair with, he's going to return. He's going to pair with Clark after a breakout season last year. Austin Jordan, he's going to step into that starting role at nickel. And the cornerback pairing looks to be Channing Canada. He's going to step into a full-time role now. And Elijah Jackson, who comes over from Washington. Jackson appeared in 33 games for the Huskies, so he does bring plenty of experience with him. And then returners Vernon Glover and Avery Helm are also going to be important parts of that rotation on the outside. Looking at the schedule and outlook this season, I have my doubts about how good this run game can be again. I think Hoover and the wideouts are the stars of the show. They should be. They're going to be highly productive. And expectations should be high for Hoover and McAllister to be a dynamic duo and produce really big numbers here. On defense, the addition of Andy Avalos as defensive coordinator really transformed this unit, and they're going to hope to build upon what they started a year ago. They run stunts and blitzes that allow them to create turnovers and negative plays. And getting better at stopping the run is going to go a long way to helping them get off the field more. At North Carolina, I think it's a win. I think Bill's in a rebuilding year here for 2026, not this year. And then Abilene Christian, nice easy win there. SMU, I think, is a coin flip. If the Horned Frogs can stop the run, which is going to be the key to this game, SMU does lack receiving weapons on the outside. You got to keep an eye on RJ Maryland. He's tough to stop from that tight end spot. That's going to be a fun game. It's an early test. It'll be interesting. At Arizona State, I would lean loss. I think Sam Levitt coming back, Jordan Tyson, they're going to be able to run the football fairly well. They're effective on defense. Their talent level is really raising. Colorado, I would lean win. I think Colorado has some deficiencies you can take advantage of. At Kansas State, tough place to play. I would lean loss. Yeah, I just think Avery Johnson's going to have that thing humming. They have some good backs. They're going to be able to run the football effectively. Baylor, I think, is a coin flip game for me. Sawyer Robertson's really good. They have a really good run game returning, and their defense is okay enough, but that's got shootout written all over it. That one's going to be a blast. At West Virginia, that's always a tough trip to Morgantown. On paper, it's a winning game, but anytime you're at Morgantown, things get weird, especially later in the second half of the year. Iowa State, I would say it's a coin flip. There's just so many fun quarterback matchups in this conference. Rocco facing off with Hoover, that's a fun game. I would like to see where that one goes. At BYU, the timing of this game matters. If it is Provo at night, I would be on upset alert. It's a win on paper with Retzlaff now gone, but weird things happen at Provo at night. At Houston, that's a win. And then Cincinnati, nice easy win there to finish it out. I think Sorsby's not going to be able to have that thing humming. If they can put together a respectable run game and stop the run decently enough, then the coin flip games are really in play here. If not, then they're in trouble. 7 wins should be the floor. They should have upside for a repeat of 9 wins, and that would be considered a success for this program.